Hello, hello. Welcome back. I have a news alert for you. Get in, loser. We're reclaiming cringe. Please don't be mad if you don't get that reference. I would never call someone a loser and mean it. That's a meme from Mean Girls, the original. I don't know if it's in the new one or not. I haven't seen it. Anyway, in case no one's told you, cringe is the new cool. It feels a lot lately like the world is burning down. But I think that's mainly because the institutions that have framed our existence for so long are crumbling. In the government, especially in the United States, and worldwide in some ways too. But the constant that I find is everything that comes from source energy. I am observing as I leave my neighborhood all of this new life busting forth because spring is coming. And all the trees that don't have leaves right now will have leaves again in a couple months. And just like the trees and the animals every spring, as human beings, we go through ebbs and flows, but we are a constant. And that inner place that we go when it's quiet and we can silence our mind, that knows that we come from a higher intelligence and we will all return to that higher intelligence when we leave here. That inner place is accessible to us all the time. And in that inner knowing also lives vulnerability and authenticity and all of the things that are super important for us to engage in, especially when the world feels like it's burning down. So, why do I say cringe is the new cool? People often think you're cringy when you're being super authentic, right? If you don't dress the way people expect you to dress, if you don't behave the way people expect you to behave, if you don't wear the thing people expect you to wear, if you don't cave to the pressure to twist yourself into some kind of ampersand chameleon form to please them, I think we should start a war on embarrassment. More specifically, a war on shame. I don't think it has a whole lot of place in the world anymore. Maybe in those few cases where, someone does something truly wrong that creates a moral injury, right? If you don't understand moral injury, it's a fascinating topic that you can find online. It's a concept I learned about in an ethics class. But I think shame belongs in the department of I did something really, really wrong, and shame teaches me to not want to be like that anymore. But also Brene Brown says that there's a difference between shame and remorse or guilt, right? Like shame is I am bad and guilt is I did something bad. Anyway, when we were tribalistic still, people would be shamed for reasons that probably benefited the greater good. Like, hey, you went and gave away our prized goose to the next tribe, we shame you. Or, I just made that up, but you stepped out of line and that thing you did is a threat to our survival and therefore you should be ashamed, and that shame should adjust your behavior. But I think we're evolving beyond that point, and I think really one of the best ways to nourish our soul, our higher self, is to put down all of these machinations of what we should be and all these performative things that we do. Because also, like, when it outwardly appears that the world is burning down, who fucking cares? Who cares if you say the thing people expect you to say, or wear the thing they expect you to wear, or perform the way they expect you to perform? I think we're all eternal, but our time in this life, on this planet right now, in your current embodiment, is limited. We all know that. Nothing more sure than death and taxes. And by the way, here's your reminder that it's statistically impossible that you exist. If you could grab yourself a statistician and have them sit down and do the math, okay, what are the odds that I was born in this year, on this day, in this month, to these parents, in this town, and that I would then go take that job and meet that person and make friends with that person and fall in love with that person. Like, if you stack up all of the intersections of possibility and add that math up, we are more rare than we realize, and especially in the specific format we're in this moment. You know, if you believe in parallel universes, there are infinite versions of me that have made infinite different choices. I'm the only one sitting in this position right now. I mean, maybe there's another Meg in another universe driving her car to an appointment, but I think you get what I'm saying. And frankly, just like anything, just like courage, the more you push yourself out of your comfort zone and practice being authentic, just like when you practice being courageous, right, by jumping into it deliberately, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And just like, you know, using courage as an example, I use that as an example because you can't be courageous, I think, without first deciding that something is scary or hard and then deliberately doing it anyway. Willingly stepping into the fear is a way to inoculate yourself against it, and it's the same with authenticity. And the more I practice it, actually, the more that I find beauty in other people, because it kind of brings out a sense of empathy, I think. I don't look at people anymore most of the time. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I gotta check myself. But for the most part, I don't look at people anymore and go, ugh. Or if I do go, ugh, then I have to stop myself and remind myself that they're being authentic. They're being themselves. And the more I do this, the more I practice authenticity, the more free I feel, and the more detached I feel from the machinations of this world that are counterproductive to what I think is my soul's highest path and highest good. And it's allowing me to enjoy being here more, while also not putting all my eggs in a given basket, right? I get to be here and enjoy the time I have without worrying, you know, if my lover is mad at me, or if my kids are going to turn out okay, or if this job is going to work out, or what my friends will think when I go do the weird thing that I'm planning on doing. If I, you know, go start taking music lessons as a 40-year-old woman, which I'm actually doing, by the way, it becomes easier to enjoy the time and space and moments you have when you're fully authentic, because not only because it's an expression of who you are at a soul level, I believe, but it's also a form of detachment, because when you're performing, you're always putting your eggs in baskets that aren't core to you. What is the phrase? I heard this on a sitcom once. Maybe it was Friends, or no, I bet it was a Big Bang Theory. Okay. When your locus of self-worth is projected outward or inward, where does your locus of self-worth and self-love come from? When you're performing, you're putting that locus outward. You're investing energy in the outside world being what makes you okay. I'm okay only if I have this amount of money. I'm okay only if I have a lover. I'm okay only if, my best friend stops doing that thing that I don't like. Or I'm only okay if I have the approval of these people. I'm only okay if, I get that car. That's external. All of that's external to you. I think being authentic brings our locus back inward. So, to summarize, cringe is the new cool. We're starting a war on shame. We're celebrating authenticity. Celebrating being exactly who you are, with no apologies needed. And we're remembering that the more we practice authenticity, even if it's scary, the easier it'll get. And the more we practice authenticity, the more free we are. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Much love to you all. I'll see you soon.